everyone, I am Laethas and welcome back again for another video. And today I have something a little bit different for you guys, and that is I have a review for the Doujinshi series, Mine-kun is Asexual. And I am very thankful to the people at Irodori Comics. Irodori Sakura specifically is the imprint that this series is under, for providing me a review copy for this series. And really just a big shout out to them. I am very thankful that they decided to send me a review copy, and I am here to tell you about this series. So without further ado, let's get into this review. For those who are unaware of what Doujinshi is, it's basically just self-published works as opposed to manga that is serialized or commercialized in a manga magazine such as Shonen Jump or Shonen Sunday or something like that. So instead of having an editor and a whole business process that things go through to make the manga sort of more of a commercial commodity, Doujinshi are self-published works by the artists themselves. They do everything, and so it's more intimate because you don't have sort of feedback from the editor saying, hey, do this, do that, to, you know, make it more marketable. The artist really has complete control and freedom over what it is that they are doing, and so it gives you a more intimate experience with the author, and you really get to see what they wanted to produce. And so with that little bit out of the way, let's get into the main review for this series of Mine-kun is Asexual. And as one might expect, this is a series about a character, Mine-kun, who is an asexual individual. For those who are unfamiliar with that term, it basically means they don't experience the same sort of sexual desire that most people do. It's either non-existent, or they're averse to sexual acts, or it's greatly diminished in that there aren't too many situations in which they want to engage in sort of intimate or sexual activities. One interesting thing of note, however, is that the story is not really told from his perspective and how he's perceiving things, but it's told from the girl that is into him, or the girl that is in love with him. It's told through her perspective and her experiences with this character, Mine-kun, and how she kind of deals with him being asexual, whereas she is definitely a sexual kind of person. And at the beginning of the story, we get a confession of love from her, and she's like, I love you, and she's all drunk and stuff, and she's, you know, a little bit lightheaded. And it's a little bit funny how they end up, sort of how she confesses her love to him. But he kind of informs her of, you know, how he is, and he's like, I'm not so sure if I'm going to be able to make you happy, and she's like, okay, that's fine, but I really love you, and I really want to try giving this relationship a go. And so at the very beginning of the manga, they sort of hook up, and so their relationship begins at the beginning, and we get to see how their relationship progresses throughout the manga series itself. And when Mirai, the girl, his girlfriend, Mine-kun's girlfriend, who confessed to him, first hears about this, she's kind of a little bit confused, but she just kind of goes along with it at the beginning because she doesn't fully understand what that means, since she's never really experienced that lack of a sexual desire herself, and so things just kind of start off from there. And pretty early on in the series, we get to see some interactions between Mirai and one of her co-workers, and through her we get to see some of the prejudices that someone who is asexual tends to face from people believing certain things about the person, be they good or bad or neutral, but depending on the person saying it could be interpreted as a good thing or a bad thing. And so this is her first experience with talking to someone about her boyfriend and kind of wanting to understand, and she's asking people that are unfamiliar with the topic, and because of that, we do get to see some of the prejudices that someone who is asexual might face, and I think that is a good sort of learning opportunity for some people that are, you know, unfamiliar with what this means. But our character Mirai and her co-worker's conversation is cut off short because Mirai and Mine-kun go out on a date to see a movie, and through watching this movie we see that Mirai wants to sort of cuddle with Mine-kun, but Mine-kun is kind of uncomfortable with that, and she kind of explains this to her after they watch the film. But after that, they, you know, go home and watch more of the series because, surprise, surprise, this is very clearly a nod to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Mirai hadn't really seen any of the ones before, and so Mine-kun's like, oh, I have the other ones, and we can go watch that, and this one will make more sense once you've seen that one. So it's kind of interesting how we get sort of a nod to sort of real life things that most people have some connection to, or pop culture references, so I thought that was pretty interesting. But as Mirai is going over to her boyfriend's house, she's thinking about the things that normal girls think about when they're going over to their boyfriend's house. But as she goes over there and as they watch movies and the night progresses on and eventually the next day comes, Mirai is kind of starting to get more of a picture as to what it means for someone to be asexual. I don't want to spoil too much because it is a short series. I think it is 45 pages long, so, you know, there's a limit to what I can talk about, but she does sort of get a more familiar understanding with what this means for her and her boyfriend. And throughout the series, we do get to see these characters interact, and it's a great read through all the way to the beginning, or all the way to the end. You start at the beginning, you go to the end. But yeah, I really enjoyed reading this series from beginning to end, and you really get to connect with these characters, and I feel the ending really completes the story and gives a really good ending to a very good but short series. And what I really liked about this series was the detail that the author has gone through to sort of present things in a very nuanced and specific way, not to sort of overlook anything. In the afterword, the author talks about how there's a lot of different people who are asexual and their experiences are vastly different from one another. And so she touches on this in the end, and so she's like, well, if I didn't cover your specific scenario, I apologize. I'm learning about this more myself, especially as I learn about myself as well. And so you get a really good perspective, and the author definitely does take care to make sure that she's being faithful to what it is that they are trying to be faithful to. And from the very beginning of this series, I was invested in these two characters. I liked the unique perspective of how we weren't dealing with the story from the perspective of Mine-kun, but from someone who is interacting with Mine-kun and is trying to be an intimate partner with Mine-kun. I think that was very well done, and it wasn't what I thought the series was going to be from the beginning before I got my review copy. I thought it was going to be told from Mine-kun's perspective, but I really liked how the story was told from someone else's perspective, because it gives sort of a better picture for most people, because most people are not asexual, and as a result, I feel it's easier for someone who isn't asexual to identify with the main character, which the series is being told from, and it helps the reader understand an asexual character without having to, like, be in that character's head, if that makes sense. It's a very easy for someone, because it's not being told from Mine-kun's perspective, but it really gives you as the reader, if you're not asexual, an understanding of interactions with someone who would be asexual, and a good learning opportunity for you if this is not something that you are familiar with, and it would be more easy for you to communicate or attach yourself, I guess, to Mirai. And so I thought that perspective was interesting. I liked how the author included sort of the societal sort of prejudices that someone might experience, and the way that the author includes this is, I think, very well done, and it's not really over the top, it's not crazy, it's not like mean or hurtful, but it's in a way that makes sense if you were experiencing sort of this prejudice in real life and how it would usually materialize. It's not like some crazy fantasy series where it's like very overtly like racist or anything like that, like to a degree to which it makes it hard for people to associate with, but it's done in a very real way, if that makes sense. And so I would definitely recommend giving this one a read. I absolutely loved this series, and I can't wait to read more from the Irodori Sakura imprint. So they're a imprint that is specialized for BL, or Boys Love, Yuri, and other LGBT works. So I'm excited to see what else they have to come. They have both safe for work titles and not safe for work titles. I will have a link to their website in the description down below, as well as a link to their Twitter so you can go follow them on there. Again, I thank them for the review copy that they sent me. Absolutely love this series. On their site, you can review the series as well. They have a star system 1 to 5, and I would absolutely give this series a 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic. I thought the ending really wrapped the series up nicely and in a way that really made sense for it, and I would highly encourage you to check this series out. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this Doujinshi review. It's a little bit special. Let me know what you guys think. Would you like to hear more Doujinshi reviews in the future? Big thank you to Irodori Sakura, Irodori Comics, for sending me that review copy. I really appreciate it, and I thank them very much. And you know, if you have any questions about this series, make sure to leave those in the comments down below. I'd be happy to answer some of them. And I just really like answering sort of those long, sort of thought-out comments as well. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and share. If you'd like to stay up to date with all of my content, you can hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell, or follow me on Twitter. There's a link to that in the description down below. If you have any questions, comments, issues, anything like that, leave those down there in the comment section down below. I really like reading your comments, and especially for this new type of series that I'm doing, where I'm looking at Doujinshi as opposed to normal commercialized manga. So it's a little bit of a different beast. So if you have questions about that, be sure to let me know. Big thank you to Irodori Sakura, Irodori Comics, for the review copy. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I am Laethas. Goodbye.